back to my channel if you've been here before, and hello if you are new. Today we're going to be talking about what to do when you love food too much, what this actually means, and how to really start overcoming this. I'm going to give you some really practical tips on how to deal with this. So I'm Michaela Carpenter. I'm a food freedom coach, and I specialize in helping people overcome their struggles when it comes to food, so really healing their relationship with food. So if this is something that sounds interesting to you, make sure you keep on watching and we will hop straight into it. A really important place to start is really by acknowledging your relationship with food. So really reflecting on what your relationship with food is like. So really asking yourself if your relationship with food, your love for food, is causing habits that you don't like, or if it's something that is not impacting that side of things and it's fine. Because if there's no issue there, if you love food a lot but you're not having negative impacts from it, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of us do love food. I love food, but I know that my relationship with food is healthy compared to what it was like in the past. So it's really important to really reflect and ask yourself what impact your love for food is having on your relationship with food, what it's really looking like, and really just knowing exactly how it's impacting you. And this is a really important place to start. And I mean, a lot of us already probably know what our relationship with food is like and how our love for it is impacting us, but it's really important to really reflect on that and get really clear on how it's impacting us so that we can start changing this and creating changes in terms of our relationship with food and our love for food. Another thing that comes with acknowledging your relationship with food is really getting curious about the emotional side of it. So is the love for food that you have really tied to a lot of emotions, like things like stress, and anxiety, those sorts of things? Is it tied to that? Is there an emotional eating what am I trying to say? Is there a connection that around emotional eating that your love for food is really not helping with? Really getting curious and acknowledging this is really important as well. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is creating balance. So really making sure that we are focusing on things like creating a diverse and nutrient-rich approach to a diet. So we're focusing on foods that are really rich in nutrition rather than focusing on foods that make us feel a certain way. So even though a love for food may be really strong, that's not an issue in itself. It's when it causes, like we talked about before, those other things. So when they're physically or mentally affecting us in negative ways, that's when there's an issue with our love for food. So focusing on including more nutrition and really experimenting, having fun with that, and really pouring that love for food into exploring and trying new things, and coming from that approach rather than just loving the foods that you already love that may not be in a healthy way. Really focusing on how you can take care of your body more and add in more nutrition by experimenting and by celebrating the love that you do have for food in a positive way rather than having it as a negative thing in your life. So that is one thing I wanted to talk about. So another thing when it comes to creating balance is not restricting yourself, not telling yourself no to certain foods, not saying they're off limits. As much as this may feel really counterproductive compared to what you may have done in the past, it is really the best way to kind of work through this. So really, instead of telling ourselves, cutting out food groups, telling ourselves we need to stop eating so much of that, instead focusing on how we are adding in more nutrition first. If we find ourselves wanting to reach for less nutritious foods, really focusing on, okay, well, I'm going to take care of my body first, I'm going to nourish it, and then see how you feel afterwards. If you still would like some of the less nutritious foods, that's okay, not making ourselves feel guilty and ashamed for that, being okay with that. And the chances are we're going to either not feel like it after we do fuel our bodies the way we want to, and that really takes care of our bodies. We're probably not going to want it as much, and even if we do still want it, we're probably not going to eat as much. And if we find ourselves being really full from eating plenty of nutritious foods, and we do find ourselves still really wanting or craving those other foods, then we need to look at the emotional eating component that is probably going on there. Because when we find ourselves craving certain foods, there more often than not is something else going on. I'm going to link a post about this, which will be another YouTube video as well, just to link you guys up with that, because that's a whole other kind of thing we need to kind of dive into around understanding that emotional eating and how to really start getting away from that. So yeah, it's really important to be able to create that balance and really get away from that. Basically getting away from the whole dieting and really restricting certain foods, instead focusing on how we can really take care of our bodies. And if you've been around me, or been in my world for a wee while, you'll know how important it is to really be focusing on that, taking care of yourself and really having that as your main goal. And easier said than done when we've been used to not having that as our main goal, but that really needs to be our main focus and goal in order to help things like when we feel like we are loving food too much, to be able to get away from this idea that we love food too much and that's a really bad thing, really turning it into something that's positive and really something that can help us and serve us in really taking care of our bodies. A few mindful eating practice ideas and things that I really encourage is, first off, really taking the time to enjoy your food and really savor it, and not in a way that makes you feel bad if you do find yourself eating faster one day or at certain meals. That's totally fine. We do definitely go on autopilot, but really just committing to maybe even one meal a day, or even starting off at one meal a week. We're really just being super conscious and really savoring it and enjoying the way those foods make us feel, how they taste, the different textures, those sorts of things. Just being really mindful of those different components, and it can really help us enjoy eating and really appreciate the foods more that we are eating. So yeah, but like I said, like if we are kind of starting from not doing that at all, definitely starting with once a week, or if you want to, a couple times a week. If you're feeling super ready to try and do it more, you definitely could do it once a day, but not feeling as though you have to do it all at once either. So just really focusing on being real mindful when we are eating a meal, and just really being present with that and enjoying the food. So that is the first thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to mindful eating. The next one is to eat without distraction. And this is an easier than said one. I know a lot of people, and even me myself, sometimes I don't fully sit there present in my meals. But as long as the majority of the time you are not distracted and you are really just sitting there eating your meal, and once you're done you can go do the things you want to do, it's a really powerful thing to do. And at the start, if you're used to having even just sitting on your phone, scrolling on your phone, those sorts of things, it will feel a little bit challenging because we're kind of used to that association. But when you're able to kind of break away from this and really just sit, enjoy the meal, and not feel the need to be distracted alongside that, it is really helpful in being able to identify your hunger cues as well, and really just to appreciate and feel that connection with that food. And this really fosters into the idea that loving food is not a bad thing, and it's like I've said, it's a really positive way of turning that into a positive thing. So yeah. So the next one is really paying attention to hunger cues, and the two things that I mentioned before this will help you in doing this, especially when you're eating meals. So when you're finding yourself hungry throughout the day, not ignoring that. Even when you find yourself busy, that means having the snacks easy, ready to go. The easiest snack that you could really ever have is a piece of fruit. That's something I highly recommend, and fruit is an amazing whole food that's going to give you so much nutrition and energy to keep you going, and not having intense cravings later on in the day. If that is obviously the physiological side of it, not the emotional side when it comes to things like emotional eating. But yeah, just really trying to start listening to your body and when it's hungry, when it's full, and really starting to get in tune with that is really an important thing to do. So another thing is really improving your relationship with food. So if you are finding that the associations you have with loving food are really, really unhelpful, really negative, getting the support you need, seeking support if that's what you need, whether that's going to see a doctor or going to see a dietitian, or whether that's talking to someone like me who's a food freedom coach, so I specialize in helping people heal their relationship with food. Whatever one it is, just really deciding and recognizing that it's something that you need to do to be able to help your relationship with food and really start healing it is a really, really powerful step to take. And not feeling as though you have to stay struggling and just figure it out on your own, because there's so many people out there that can help you and that are so willing to help you, myself included. So definitely make sure you either reach out or seek some support to be able to really start helping heal your relationship with food. So the next thing is addressing the underlying issues. So this is a really important one and something that we often don't do when it comes to a relationship with food. I see it a lot. Really just focusing on the surface level stuff rather than addressing the underlying issues that are really causing your relationship with food to be the way they are. So that's really looking at the habits that have been learned, the different beliefs and thoughts you've been holding on to about yourself and what food is for. Is just a few examples of some of the underlying issues that kind of need to be addressed to be able to create and foster that healthy relationship with food. So that is all I wanted to talk to you guys about today. So I just wanted to remind you guys and just re-emphasize that loving food is not a bad thing, and it is such a natural thing. I think the majority of people do love food, but when you feel like it's too much, I think this is saying, when you're saying that you feel like you love food too much, you're saying that there's something wrong with your love for food, so it's turned into something else, or it's in a negative way, it's impacting you in a negative way. So when you start really healing your relationship with food, addressing those underlying issues, you'll find that you still love food. That's okay, that's not the issue. It's the association with that food that was the issue. So the habits, the physical and mental toll that your love for food was having. Once you're able to shift these things and really create that healthy relationship with food, you'll still love it, but it'll feel good. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I don't want to see people struggling in their relationship with food, and I believe that it shouldn't be a pain point for people, especially when there is support out there, there's resources out there, and I really want to teach you guys and show you guys and help you guys really create that healthy relationship with food. And if this is something you would like to dive into more, there's only so much I can teach when it comes to videos like this, and through my Facebook group, that's somewhere I share a lot of information. There's only so much I can share for you guys. I can give you all of the tools that you need, but when it comes to implementing things and really dealing with the things that come up when we do address underlying issues, when we do start really trying to heal our relationship with food, is something that is hard, really, really hard to do if you're not working one-to-one with someone. And that is why I offer one-to-one coaching, because it is the best and easiest way to help people really address the things that they need to address and really start healing their relationship with food. So if this is something you're interested in, make sure you do book in a free call with me. I offer them to anyone who is on the fence or feeling a bit unsure about even where they think they should be focusing their energy when it comes to healing their relationship with food. I offer it to anyone in that position. And if things are feeling right as well, I obviously offer the opportunity to work with me, and we kind of look at whether that is a good fit or not. But yeah, overall the call is really just focused on helping you guys understand exactly what's going on, where you need to be focusing your energy in order to really address those things that are keeping you stuck and start really healing your relationship with food. So that is all for today's video. I'm going to stop talking now. But yeah, I hope you really enjoyed it, and I hope you found it really helpful. I'm sorry that the camera has probably been shaking the whole time. I'm just trying to work out backgrounds in this new caravan that we've moved into. But hopefully next week or soon enough it'll be sorted. But yeah, so that is all. I post videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I will talk to you guys next week.